I'm Luanda Ford from Arvada, Colorado. I started on the Relive product 7 years ago now, when I was desperately looking for help with hives. I had had them for about 8 months when I found Relive. And the ones that I had grew into saucer size, itching, burning welts. They made me so miserable it hurt to wear clothes most days. As a home economist, nutrition made sense to me. So when I started on the shakes, the first thing that I noticed was better sleep and then more energy. And then my sinuses improved 90 to 95%. And migraines that I've had since I was 8 years old are gone. It took several months before the hives went away completely. And if it hadn't been for those other things happening before the hives went away, I'm afraid I might have given up on these products. You have to be consistent with them, and that's what I learned through that process. Since then, I've had help with plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis. The floaters are gone from my eyes, and my eyesight has improved 3 times. I did not have to have surgery on either shoulder when I had torn the rotator cuffs about 2 years apart. I've had tremendous help with severe back pain after an auto accident. And there was a period of time when I could not bend over to pick something up off the floor without excruciating pain. Now when I bend over to pick something off the floor or to wipe a spot, I thank God every time because I do it without any pain. When the Lunarich X capsules came in over 2 years ago now, I added those to my regimen, and I sleep even deeper, and I have dreams again like I've not had in many, many years. I've had several other helps with issues, but I was very blessed to be able to help my mom, and I started my parents on these products in their 80s, about the same time as I started with Relive. It took about 1.5 years to 2 years, but the best result we saw from my mom was that her heart function went from 30 to 90% function. And her cardiologist took her off of 2 heart medications. And typically, somebody in their 80s does not get off heart medications. I feel so blessed to have found these products and to be able to share them with other people.
Well, Luanda, it's a wonderful testimony. It's quite a variety. I can imagine going through hives as big as saucers. That just sounds dreadful. But you mentioned the migraines, and why don't you just give me a little more detail on that? What were the migraines like before Relive, and what has happened since you've been on Relive with the migraines?
I had migraines as often as twice a week. There was a period of time when, for several years, I lived with headaches all the time. I couldn't always sort out whether they were sinus headaches or migraines or something else. But I might have 1 or 2 days a month when I did not have a headache of some kind.
Wow.
The migraines would totally wipe me out, and I could hardly function for about 3 days. And sometimes that happened twice in 1 week. So for those to be gone has been an incredible blessing. And I have not had a migraine in 7 years now.
Wow. That's wonderful. Luanda, thank you. Appreciate you joining us and sharing tonight on our call.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and mute all the lines. And let's see if Gordon McAllister was able to make it. Gordon, if you're here, we'd love you to share.
I am here, Bill. I apologize. I was missing 1 digit on the PIN code.
No problem. We'll go for it, Gordon.
Well, good. Bill, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Gordon McAllister. I live in Carmel, Indiana, outside of Indianapolis. When we were first introduced to Relive in 2008, it was really my idea. A very good friend of ours who was a Relive distributor got in contact with us, and I wanted her to come and talk to us about Relive because I was looking for my wife to have more energy, better focus, eliminate her IBS symptoms, and she had an ongoing issue with her neck from a car accident some years before that. So we did get started on the products. Myself, I wanted to support my wife. I wasn't as focused on myself as I should have been, perhaps. But anyway, in 2008, we both got started, and I eliminated cold feet, leg cramps, acid reflux, and I had just very minor joint pain in my knees. I'd always dealt with very severe colds and also cold sores all my life. The colds were getting to be constant and worse, very debilitating. And normally I'd get an infection. I'd have to go to the doctor and get an antibiotic and to fight off the cold, and it was a difficult process. Since I've been on Relive, I have not been to the doctor for a cold or any antibiotic for colds since I've been on the products. The cold sores have gone away. I can share that I also had, in 1990, I had a minor heart attack, and it only took me an angioplasty, a balloon, to clear the vein up, because early in the 70s I discovered that I dealt with high cholesterol, and because of all the stress and hard work and so forth, I was also dealing with high blood pressure. Lo and behold, in 2010, I had a very severe heart attack. They rushed me into the cath lab. I had 3 blockages, and they only put 1 stent in at that time because my heart was under so much stress. They said that I had the highest enzyme count they'd ever seen, and certainly the highest one they'd ever seen, to survive and not have heart damage, even though initially my heart did show damage, and my ejection rate was 1/2 of normal. So I got on the phone in the hospital, and I contacted, most of you know, Wendy House, and I asked her what she would recommend. And so she increased my shakes to 3 to 5 a day, and added Cardio Essentials and ProVantage, because that is something that deals with muscle, and that's what the heart is. Subsequent to that, I went back and had a second stent put in, and then had a heart test done again. And subsequent to that, the third of the blockage was not a big issue. But after they put in the second one, I had an MRI done, and I went back to meet with my cardiologist, and he said I had no heart damage, and I had a clean bill of health without any restrictions.
Wow.
So I'm here today, and I'm 75 years young because I've been on Relive long enough to save myself. And I can tell you, where my blood pressure medicine used to be like 125 over 90, somewhere 80, somewhere around there. Today it's about 110 or 120 over 75. And my cholesterol issue, I've gotten off of cholesterol issues. My cholesterol has dropped by about 50 points or more, and I've gotten off the cholesterol medicine. So I've eliminated 1 medicine, and praise God, I'm here today because of Relive, and all is getting done for me and my family.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Well, that's quite a variety of results. I mean, and there were some more, as I recall, as I reflect back on your story. You had some issues with acid reflux?
Yes. I had really fairly minor issues with that. It cleared up pretty quickly, but it was getting to where it would wake me up during the night, and I just don't have that issue anymore either. And just a couple minor things, Bill, but just the kind of things that Relive does. My jaw popped when I was eating sometimes. That's gone. Mosquito bites, I don't have those anymore. Well, I get mosquito bites, but they don't itch. And what was funny, I was driving down the road one day when I realized that I didn't have my jaw pop when I was eating. My youngest daughter had a bigger problem with that, and she's on Relive. And I called her and I said, Joanna, I said, does your jaw pop anymore when you eat? And she paused for a moment. She said, no, it doesn't. So, and then I also had a nose broken. I ran into a baseball bat in grade school, and my left nostril I couldn't breathe out of, and so forth. I've got a complete 100% breathing in that now. So the products just keep working in sometimes often mysterious ways, but there's something always improving in your body.
You're a Relive kid here. There's no telling where this Relive is going to go. It just helps create healthy cells and all kinds of good things.
I'm 75 years young, Bill.
That's great. Thanks, Gordon. Appreciate you sharing.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
Thank you. Well, next we're heading all the way over to California. It's our pleasure tonight to have John Dixon join us. John, we'd love you to share for a little bit.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for inviting me. My name
Sure.
is John Dixon. I live in Lancaster, California. I started the Relive products in March of 2005. I actually got involved in it because we needed a business. My wife's health was not bottom line, she wasn't able to work outside the home. She had a broken neck, loss of feeling down her right side, migraines, headaches weekly, and lost 90% of her eyesight. And I thought at least this would be something that she could do to feel a part of the household and give her something to do other than sitting at home. When we got the products in, I looked at the back of the cans and said, wow, it looks like a great vitamin. I asked the people if we could take it. They said, not only could you take it, we wanted you to take it. We wanted you to be a product of the product. And I thought to myself, well, sure, how can you sell something you never even tasted? So we started on Classic and Energize, and right away I became pain-free. I had crushed disc of my tailbones, a slip disc in the center of my back. I had 6 compressed discs because of the neck that severely restricted my range of motion. I could only go 9 degrees to the left and 12 degrees up. I had a sciatica that radiated down my leg with every beat of my pulse. Didn't matter if I was standing up, laying down, or sitting. And in fact, many times it was worse than others. I also ripped my left rotator cuff when I was 45 years old. And I never did do the operation. I spent 18 months in physical therapy trying to do their operation. They guaranteed me that it was going to be extremely painful, but they couldn't guarantee me that it was not going to be painful. I mean, it was going to be fixed. So I declined to do that. Within 30 days, I became completely pain-free and regained all of my range of motion. I've stayed that way for the last 10 years, 11 years, whatever it's been. And I got other great results. I had ulcerative colitis. My brother passed away. I spent the last 6 weeks of his life with him. The stress of watching him literally kill himself by not eating. With the stress of that, threw me into an ulcerative colitis episode. The doctors, when they discovered it, gave me medicines that I was completely allergic to. They chemically burned my intestines, both large and small. I spent 2 years. I spent a year on diapers and baby wipes. I had absolutely no control of my intestinal, and there's a lot of scratching back there. Because of that, I got off. I stopped taking their medicines, and within 2 years, my intestines were 100% restored. They stayed 100% restored ever since. I've never had an ulcerative colitis episode. I had kidney failure. I had my kidneys were failing, and when I asked the doc about it, they said, well, there was nothing they could do about it. But Relive products, 17 months on the products, my kidneys were 100% functional. I've also had a 10-centimeter Barrett's esophagus. That's a hole in your esophageal lining due to acid reflux. 4 years on the products, and my Barrett's esophagus dropped from 10 centimeters down to 4. One of my latest results, I lost my wife in September of 2013, and right now I use 24K to control depression, and it does work. It takes 3 shots a day for doing that. As I mentioned earlier with my wife, she had lost feeling down her right side. In 3 months' time, she never again lost feeling down her right side. In 3 months' time, she never again had a migraine headache. And in 11 months, her macular degeneration was non-viewable in her retina anymore. That's a summary of our results over the years, and it just keeps on getting better.
Well, that's a lot of things, John. It's pretty remarkable, all the things that Relive touches. It's not a miracle, but the body sure is a miracle. And when it gets the right fuel, a lot of wonderful things are happening. And you certainly had a wide range of benefits from it. Thanks for being on and sharing tonight, John.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you. Okay, well, next we head over to Texas. My pleasure to have with us tonight John Pickles. And, John, we'd love you to come on and share a little bit of what's happened for you.
Well, Bill, it's a real pleasure and an honor always to share my journey with Relive. I'm 72 years young. I'll be 73 this year, and I'm so proud of it, Bill, because 5 years ago I was suffering some major health issues. In fact, I was suffering so much depression I was thinking about committing suicide. One of the things that were going on with me, I have an eye disease called histoplasmosis. And by the way, Bill, I am retired Air Force and ex-corporate guy, but I came into Relive. I told everybody back then I was healthy, and I wasn't. But I came in it to supplement my Air Force retirement and Social Security. And I came in as a master affiliate. I looked at it as a business, and I knew I was going to get health results because I actually listened to a lot of people tell me their stories, like everyone's hearing tonight. I started the product in January 2010, and I was suffering with thyroid issues for 30 years, acid reflux for 25. My histoplasmosis I'd had since I was 26. In fact, I had got some 50-something shots in my eyes prior to Relive. And that was just to control the bleeding in my retina. It's treated like wet macular degeneration. I was also I was a diabetic. I'd been on metformin for 5 years. I had ED problems. I'd had a TURP done on my prostate. I was getting sinus and infections every year, allergies, unbelievable. So the doctors had me on quite a few medications, and I had my blood work done in January 2010 when I started, and I had it done again in July. Well, the first thing that I noticed was my acid reflux. My stomach, I was finally able to sleep at night. My doctor, I went to my ophthalmologist a month and a half on this, and he looked in there and he said, "You don't have any bleeding in either one of your eyes." So that was the first time since I was 26 years old I didn't have any bleeding. In 6 months, and this is the real miracle for me, is 6 months the doctor got my blood work and took me off every one of the medications I was on. I had been med-free since July the 18th, 2010. And I just seemed to be getting better. I lost 25 pounds around my neck and waist. And I looked at this. I started sharing this when I first came in, and I earned some of those bonuses and everything. But I started treating it like a business about 2.5 years into it. In December, I actually helped enough people that I came in number 15th. I made key director that month, got a bonus. So all forms of income that month were over $5,000. And I thought, wow. I got to go to Jamaica, Bill, the following year. So it's a real blessing to be as healthy as I am, to be as, the finances. I mean, the money will come. It's just how many people can I help now? And I was about 2 or 3 years into this, and I had about 20 ambassadors there in St. Louis. And I told them, I'm very lucky to be part of Relive. And one of the ambassadors looked at me and said, "No, John, you're blessed." And, we're all blessed if we're doing this business. So, and if we're helping people, you can't ask for any more than that, Bill. I'll be doing this till I die, Bill.
Yeah, there's something about reaching out, and I mean, you had phenomenal results, but there's something about reaching out and making a difference in other people's lives that'll grab your heart, and that's what this business drives the business side of it. Is people who like to help others, who have a real heart to make a difference in other people's lives. But I'm a tennis pro, but Relive helped you with one of your sports of passion.
Well, when I first started, I was a senior league. I was playing a lot of golfers, and I actually, my first master affiliate was a golfer. But I got to play about 6 months after start. I'll tell this story real quick about one of the NFL pros who was on the Super Bowl, Michael Bennett. I got to play golf with him and Quincy Butler, and they played best ball. And I was able then, after about 6 months, my drives went from 250 to over 300. And that day, Bill, I'm so proud of this. They used every one of my drives. So
wow.
I've got claim to fame now, okay, with Michael Bennett.
So your drive went from 250 to over 300 in 6 months on Relive.
That's right.
Boy, the golfers ought to get excited about that one.
They better.
That's great, John. John, thank you. Appreciate you sharing tonight. It's a real joy to have you with us. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Well, I have one more guest for you. Patty and I have absolutely come to know and love Susan and Paul Puyo. Dear friends, they have a real love for the Lord. They have a real love for making a difference in other people's lives. They have a powerful Relive story, both health and business. And it is certainly our treat to have Susan with us tonight. Susan, we'd love you to come on and share.
Oh, thanks, Bill. I just love you guys, and I'm really happy to be able to share for everybody who's on this call tonight, because Relive has just really made a huge impact in our life. But I'm going to back up quite a few years because we've been on the products for a long time, but way back in 1994 when my very dear friend, who is the same people who sponsored you, called me up and shared with me this Relive opportunity. And honestly, I was not interested at all in it. I really thought it was just another one of those companies that were here today and gone tomorrow. And I already knew a lot about nutrition, and I was taking 30 to 50 vitamins a day and was getting most of my groceries from the health food store. And I just really didn't think that I needed anything else, and I didn't think that this was really that great. But it really wasn't until they told us that they were going to quit their jobs and do this business full time. And honestly, I thought, who does this kind of thing full time? I've never met people who made any money in any kind of medical company, besides just a few dollars here and there.
Hold on a second, Susan. I'm going to see if I can clear that line a little bit. Just a second.
Sure.
Okay, go right ahead.
Great. So, what I did is after I turned them down, we got in contact again a couple of months later, and they shared that they were going to quit their jobs and all that and do this business. And we were so worried about them, my husband and I. We just thought they're going to lose everything. People just don't do this kind of thing. And we decided that we were going to take a trip from New Jersey to Michigan, and we were going to stop by and visit them and try to talk them out of doing this, because we just thought we knew more about nutrition, and I felt like I knew more about network marketing, which I really didn't know anything, but I thought I did. And when we got to their home, we were so amazed with what we saw. They looked 10 years younger. They were excited. They were passionate, focused. They really had a strong conviction about what they had a hold of, and then they let us hear stories like what you guys are all hearing tonight. And honestly, it was the stories that opened up our heart to Relive. I realized at that point that after taking all those vitamins and herbs for years and years, I was not getting any better. I was just getting worse. I had chronic fatigue symptoms, fibromyalgia symptoms. I had so many different issues I was dealing with. But the people that I was hearing on that call and the different people I was meeting, they were all better, and I wasn't. So I knew I needed these products. And that night I did get on the products, but I told my friend, I am not going to ever do this business, but I will take these products. My husband was in ministry and starting a brand new church, so we took a huge cut in our income for him to do that, and I went to work cleaning houses, so we didn't have a whole lot of money. We certainly didn't have any money to start a business, but I was seeing hope in the product, not for the business, but for my health. So as I got on the product, the first month I noticed the fatigue go away, the brain fog lifted, I stopped screaming at my kids. By 2 months, I was sleeping through the night for the first time in 30 years. By 3 months, a stomach ulcer that I had for 12 years was completely symptom-free. And then by 4 months, all the pain in my hands and arms and legs was completely gone. And I just knew I never, ever wanted to go back to feeling the way that I was before. And I never wanted to be without these products. I really felt like somebody traded my body in for a new one. And so I became very passionate at that point that my whole family get on these products. But how could we do that on a pastor's salary? So I took a look at the business opportunity. That's when it started to look good to me, not because I thought I could build a huge business, but because I thought, well, at least maybe there's a way for me to get it for my family and get everybody on it. If I could work a little tiny bit, put a few people on these products. Did not see the vision of where this business was going to go. I didn't see anything except at that point what my need was, and that was to get my family on these products. So I shared it with some friends who then got great results and introduced me to more people. And, within that first month, I'd earned $500. And I was making less than that cleaning houses and really working really hard to do that. And my husband saw this as a way for me to get out of cleaning houses. He thought, if you can do this every month, that's great. You wouldn't have to do that anymore. You can just help people. And I thought, okay, let me give that a try. But I was a little nervous about it because, I was going to be bringing this off into the church and my friends, and was this really going to work? I really didn't know. So I was very, very nervous and very afraid of the business. But because of the results of these products and the results that people were getting, it just catapulted me into telling this to more and more people. So that second month we made $1,000, and I was just amazed because people were coming into the business, and that marketing plan was starting to unfold in our life. By the third month, it had gone up to $2,000, and by 5 months I had made over $4,000 that month. And that was more money than I ever made in my life in a month. So I knew this was something that was very, very special. But, I still didn't understand what I had a hold of. I'm just one of those kind of people that have to learn by doing. And by the end of the year, when we earned $24,000, I just kept saying, this is incredible. I had 3 children. I was homeschooling them and building a business at the same time. How is this possible? And loving every minute of it. Well, the second year, I decided that I would do the same amount of hours. And I had quit all my cleaning jobs, and I was just going to do this business. And I worked the same amount of hours, did the same things, but our income doubled. That's when we saw the power of what we had a hold of. That's when we began to see the long-term effect of Relive. Well, it's been 20 years. We have earned way over $1 million with Relive. And we cannot believe. We have 5 children now. Not only has it nourished my whole family and kept everybody healthy for all these years, but it has provided a living. It has given us everything that we need as a family to raise our children and to be able to stay in ministry and to do the different things that my husband has been called to do. And we are just so honored to be able to be a part of this company. It's really made a difference in our family, but the only reason it's made a difference financially in our family is because we've made a difference in other people's lives. And that is just so rewarding. And we get to meet people like you and Patty and become good friends and work together. And I love that. And I can't imagine doing anything else. And I'm just really thrilled, because I had to take some time off and focused on homeschooling my last 2 children for high school. And now I'm done. And then, poof, we earn a trip to Mexico. And, that's because we've helped people in the past, and it just continues to multiply and build. And we're just so grateful. This is our retirement and our future, and we're always going to be doing this.
There you go. Yeah, you've had great results, and you really just touched on it lightly. Maybe you can mention for us what happened to Paul. He had a serious issue with his vocal cords. What happened there?
Yes, he did. And, that's really something. He's a pastor, preacher, teacher. He's a man who uses his voice a lot. And I'll tell you, 20 years ago, he had so many throat infections. He had lost his voice so many times, 4 or 5 times a year. And it got to the point where he went to the throat specialist, and they said that you have to stop your career. You cannot use your voice anymore. Your vocal cords are completely damaged. And he was devastated. He was like, you're kidding. We're just at the very beginning of starting this church, and he needed his voice. And he said, no. He said, we've tried everything. They've done the medications and everything. It just didn't work. And he said, you've got probably about 6 months. You need to start looking. Well, he didn't start looking. He came home and he started on Relive. And he was very aggressive with it. And within 3 months, he saw so many improvements in his body. It gave him hope that there would, be some really good results later. And by 6 months, he went back to the doctor for his 6-month checkup. And the doctor said, what are you doing? Your vocal cords are beautiful. I expect you to be able to preach and teach for the rest of your life if you keep doing whatever it is you're doing. Wow. And that just really told us so much. He knew, the doctor actually said, your body has healed itself. He knew he was taking something. So that really caused my husband to say, he always tells everybody, this is gold in a can. And we still feel that way today. And he's still preaching and teaching, and you name it. He uses his voice, and he's never, ever had a problem with it since.
That's awesome. Well, Relive has certainly grabbed your heart. And it's funny because you came from, you were rather nervous about sharing Relive. Here you were in ministry. You could clean people's toilets, but you were afraid to tell them about Relive in the beginning. So how did you overcome that, and how did you begin to really, build your business? How did you begin to share? Who did you share with?
Well, it's interesting. I did have a lot of fear, but, my husband was a great help on that one. He saw that I had my first panic attack I ever had in my life, and it was over this business. I was so worried. I don't know, I was just worried about what people thought. What if this product doesn't work? And, what if I can't succeed? It was just a lot of what if I can't kind of stuff. And he really just pulled me aside and said, look, if God wants God has brought this into our life, and I really believe that, if you go out and help people, and you think about helping the people and not think about what they're going to think of you, but just share with them what you have and the truth of what you have, then the rest will follow. And that just sort of relieved me of so much. And I thought, it's true. I'm just sharing truth, and I'm walking away. And so everybody that I went to, I just shared the truth, and then I walked away, and I realized, I don't have to pressure people. I don't have to make them do things that they don't want to do. I just need to share the hope and the truth of what we have and then walk away, and they'll come running after me. And honestly, they come running after you. Those that are open and ready, they come running once they hear that little bit of hope. And so I learned to do that. I learned to kind of cut through my fear, and it would disappear. And I can't say that it doesn't ever pop up every once in a while, but then I go right back to the truth and the reality of these products and of this business opportunity. I mean, I really didn't have the truth of the business opportunity at that point. I was only seeing the results and the truth and the reality of the products, and so that's what I put before me. And but then as the business began to grow, I had the reality of that. And you can't take away that from anybody. I mean, truth is truth. I mean, that's it. My story is my story, and that's it. And so that's what I did, and I just kept on letting people hear the reality of what really is.
Well, what you're saying is you overcame your fear and nervousness. You were afraid of people maybe saying no or what they might think of you, and you overcame it by concentrating on helping them. Where were they hurting? What were their needs? How could this be a blessing to them? And as you really focused in on that, your fears began to dissipate and good things began to happen as you concentrated on them.
Absolutely. And sometimes you can have fear. It's there even when you know what you have, but it's funny how if you act on the truth, it all goes away. And yes, it builds, and people have great needs out there. I mean, that's just the bottom line. They have needs for their health, but they have massive needs for financial. And once I realized that I got something people need, and suddenly you just go around saying, who do you know? And it just disappears.
Sharing the Relive story. So what is someone who really wants to help others? What are the main things they need to concentrate on? What are the steps that they need to do?
Well, they need to make a list of every single person that they know. If they're a brand new distributor, doesn't matter if they're sick, doesn't matter if they're hurting financially or not hurting financially. They need to make a list of everybody that they know and call every single one of them and share their heart. Share their heart about what they are doing, what they have a hold of. And not what that person that they're talking to has to do, but just what they as a distributor have a hold of and what they are doing. And that way, that person, all those people on their list will then get to hear what they have. And if they know somebody or they need it themselves, they'll know where to turn to when the time comes. It's just a matter of letting everybody know what you have hold of. You have to expose people. You have to make appointments. You have to get out there and share your heart. You just have to share the truth and what you have. And that's really what we did to start our business. And I remember when Betty said to me, Susan, make a list of people, all I could think of was sick people. She said, no, not sick people. I want you to make a list of everybody you know, because you have to advertise what you have. The people have to find out, first of all, what you're doing. They need to understand what you have. And then when they're ready, they'll come to you or they'll lead you to people. I still do that today. I don't prejudge people. I try not to prejudge people. I think that, we all kind of do once in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people out there hurting with their health and with their finances. A lot of people looking for answers, and they don't always realize, that Relive is an answer. It's certainly an answer for a lot of people. Not everyone will grab a hold of it, but we certainly get the joy of making that a reality for a lot of people as we connect and we begin to share the possibilities that Relive has for everybody. Will it cure everything? No. But is it an answer for a lot of people? Oh my goodness, yes. As we hear on these calls, at this point, we've interviewed well in excess of 1,000 different people who've had results with Relive. So it's not a matter of